Hello, everybody, and welcome to the another episode of the X Factor with the Crypto Hipster. This is episode 30, season 2, episode 10, number 30 overall, halfway through season 2. And welcome and thank you for joining me today. There's a lot to talk about. I mean, there's like so much to talk about this week. And um, so it was really difficult to sift through everything that has happened in the market this week. And let's and knowing where to start. So the first thing I want to talk about, is well, first of all, thank you for joining me and being part of my show and being part of my audience. And my job here each and every week is to bring you through, what's going on in the world and in the world of crypto, blockchain. And let's start with President Joe Biden. Okay. Uh, President Biden has suggested and proposed a 30% tax, not on cryptos, but on crypto mining electricity usage. Um, The tax would be phased in at 10% per year over 3 years and covers electricity generated from both on and off grid sources. Let's see what that means. The US crypto miners could eventually, okay, so it's not as guaranteed yet, it's a proposal, be subject to a 30% tax on electricity costs under budget proposal, right? The Department of Treasury supplementary budget explainer paper released March 9, which was yesterday, said any firm using resources, whether they be owned or rented, would be subject to this excise tax um, on 30% of the cost of electricity used in digital asset mining. Um, it is considered by some to be a surprise um, and phased in, and crypto miners would have to reporting requirements on the amounts and type of electricity used, as well as the value of that electricity. Okay. Uh, crypto miners who acquire their needs off grid would still be subject to the tax and will be required to estimate the electricity costs generated by any electricity generating plant. In its reasoning for the tax, the Treasury claimed the energy consumption of crypto mining operations has negative environmental effects, increases prices for those sharing a grid with the operations, and creates uncertainty and risks to local utilities and communities. All right, so I guess I haven't read this bill yet, but I'm assuming that you're also going to charge tax to MasterCard, to Visa, to Amazon, to any centralized data repositories, which use up way more electricity than Bitcoin mining. I'm sure you're going to tax that too, right? Or is this just, what's the word? Biasness, prejudice, an attack against crypto itself instead of trying to generate revenue for the country by taxing, I don't know, Amazon, MasterCard, Visa, who use way more electricity than any Bitcoin mining. So, and I said that twice. If you think you heard it twice, you didn't hear it twice. You heard me say it twice. So let's talk about that and let's actually bill and charge the electricity usage to generate revenue and pay down the trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of debt that we owe. So, my first question to my audience here is let me know your thoughts. Is this just an attack on crypto, or does the US want to actually build for the future? Especially since Joe Biden's in the silent generation, and the silent generation was the last generation to actually build for the future before boomers showed up and extracted from our future. So let me know your thoughts. And let me know your thoughts on that question too. Being a silent generation, Biden, shouldn't he be in favor of building and not, you know, taxing just for the sake of an attack? All right. So let's talk about, you know what? Let's talk about government attacks. While we're at it, hey, we're staying with the U.S. I had plenty of international news. It's all positive. It's coming, but we have to get through the U.S. non-positive crap first. So let's go. U.S. trustee appeals New York judge's approval of Voyager deal, and with Binance U.S., the U.S. Department of Justice filed an appeal against the approval by a New York judge who allowed the billion-dollar sale of assets from Voyager Digital to Binance US. So that's a little bit of a war going on right now. The judge knocked down Gensler's overreach, but the Department of Justice is backing up Gensler. Okay. The U.S. Department of Justice, the DOJ, has filed an appeal against the latest decision in the case for selling assets between Voyager Digital and Binance US. On March 8th, the U.S. trustee for Region 2 made an appeal to the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York against the approval, right? Against the Chapter 11 bankruptcy plan. The plan was confirmed only a day prior by U.S. bankruptcy judge Michael Wiles that would allow the former crypto brokerage company to sell billions of dollars in assets to Binance US in an effort to regain liquidity and pay back customers. Your customer here in Voyager, you're a victim of Voyager, of the market contagion. There's a deal coming through, and now the Department of Justice is going against your chances to get your money back. I want to hear from you. I want to know your thoughts. What do you think? You know, after Judge Wiles told Bloomberg that he could not put the case into an indeterminate deep freeze while regulators figure it out whether they believe there are problems with the transaction or plan. There are problems with there are problems with the regulators figuring it out, and that is just, enforcement by, legality by enforcement, and it's not even legality. It's stretching your breadth and your reach to somewhere where you're not mandated to be. So, any case, let me know your thoughts on that one. I want to see the Voyager customers get their money back, and I want to see the Celsius customers get their money back, and I want to see FTX customers get their money back, not the other way around. So let's talk about what really happened this week, and because that happened, right? But let's talk about what really happened. All right, U.S. bank woes, actual U.S. bank woes. Okay, Silicon Valley Bank stocks plunged one day after Silvergate downfall. So Silvergate failed their bank. Silicon Valley Bank stocks crashed. Concerns have been raised around the financial health of the tech-focused banks, in Silicon Valley, including Sequoia and A16Z. Okay, and fears have been heightened over this week. You can see it in the prices of cryptos getting crashed. And I don't really talk about price action too much, but we had a downfall. And March, we've always had downfalls. Crypto winter in 2018 started in March. Bitcoin went down to 6,000 of COVID, went widespread in March 2020. And now March is just a bad month. It's the longest month, but some investors may be concerned that not all is well at the tech startup and VC-focused bank, given the closure of crypto bank Silvergate just a day earlier. Shares in Silicon Valley Bank, this is Silicon Valley Bank, collapsed over 60%, wiping out $80 billion in value. $80 billion in value for the bank shares. Silicon Valley Bank is one of the top 20 largest banks in the U.S. and provides banking services to the likes of crypto-friendly venture firms Sequoia and A16Z. Okay, well, what happened with Silvergate? More people want to know what happened with Silvergate. And Silvergate was one of the major banking partners. Okay, for many crypto firms, right? But it had concerns over its solvency that emerged after its annual 10K report, because they had exposure to FTX. It was believed that that was reported and such in their financials, but concerns arose after its 10K, and public companies have to report these filings. And if crypto firms had to report 10K, then what would we see? Let me know your thoughts. Should crypto firms, centralized especially, file, 10Ks or some kind of form of 10K? Um, Let me know your thoughts. And so that's what's happening in our neck of the woods here in the U.S., but that's not the least of it. Okay. Now, a lot of things have a lot of focus has been on the SEC, and there's another entity called the CFTC, the Commodities Futures Trading Commission. The CFTC chair has said just a couple of days ago, yesterday, stablecoins and Ethereum Ether, are going to be commodities. Reaffirms that. That should come under the purview of the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission. At the March 8th Senate Agricultural hearing, Rostin Beanham was asked by Senator Kristen Gillibrand about differing views held by the regulator and the SEC, saying, basically following the CFTC's 2021 settlement with stablecoin issuer Tether. Basically, it was clear, he says, that the enforcement team and the commission, that Tether, a stablecoin, was a commodity. And they say now that Ethereum is also a commodity, not a security. So the CFTC is saying Ethereum is going to be a commodity. The SEC says it's going to be a security. That creates a gray area and an unknown area. So how do you comply with one of the entities, mandates when you don't know which one it falls under? That leads to confusion. How many people are confused? Let me know your thoughts. Okay, and that is a wrap for the U.S. Let's get out of the valley of the shadow of whatever. Okay, and let's go to Europe. Okay, where there is, and I told you, is going to be good news, and the rest of the news is pretty positive for this week. So let's talk about the first one. FCA officials tell the UK Parliament committee that crypto regulation is unavoidable. The CEO and chairman of the UK's financial regulator, the FCA, Financial Conduct Authority, appeared before the House Committee Treasury on March 8 on Wednesday to discuss the agency's work. Among the issues raised was cryptocurrency regulation, which the officials approached with a clear lack of enthusiasm. Yeah, your lack of enthusiasm doesn't matter to me. What matters is facts. What are the facts? Ashley Alder took the position in February after serving as CEO of Hong Kong Securities Futures Commission, told the committee the FCA is midway through a quite ambitious reset as the Financial Services and Markets Bill makes its way through the Parliament. He and CEO Nikhil Rathi talked about predatory lending, mortgage rates, crypto, and said the Alder said the interesting aspect to this is the degree to which crypto would need to adapt and effectively detoxify in order to fit within our regime. Well, good thing that you say the crypto is unavoidable, because you're going to try to regulate it in your country, and I don't know how successful you're going to be. But let's ask the audience, how successful is the FCA going to be in regulating global crypto in their country? Now, I start with the UK almost always in Europe, but then I go to the rest of Europe, and the European Commission has come out and said they want to ensure a healthy competition in the metaverse. Okay. The Considering the regulatory struggle to keep up with the ever-evolving innovations, Margrethe Vestager, the Executive Vice President of the European Commission for a Europe Fit for the Digital Age and Commissioner for the Competition since 2014, recommended a head start into brainstorming implications of technologies such as the metaverse and ChatGPT. While speaking about competition policy at the Keystone Conference, Vestager highlighted how the digital transition and the shift to a digital economy had brought risks and opportunities for everyone. She believes that legislation lags, yes, it does, behind technological advancements. Um, while the enforcement and legislative process will continue to stay a step behind tech innovations, as it always has and does, Vestager stressed the need to anticipate and plan for such changes. The commissioner revealed that the European Commission would enforce antitrust investigations from May 2023 forward, aimed at the Facebook marketplace and how Meta uses ads related data from rivals. Antitrust. Gotta love the Teddy Roosevelt style of taking up trusts. Let me know your thoughts on that one. And yeah, so let's go to, I have one more place to, actually, two more places to go, three in Europe. And let's start with Germany. Okay. The next place we're going to go is Germany. So UK, overall Europe, now Germany. The German regulator, BaFin, suggests a case-by-case approach to NFTs. Let's see what this person has to say. The Federal Financial Supervisory Authority of Germany, BaFin, is not ready to classify NFTs as securities. That's smart. The agency suggests classifying NFTs on a case-by-case basis. Cases basis, yeah. Okay. On March 8th, the BaFin Journal published an explanatory note considering NFTs' legal classification. At this point, the regulators don't see how NFTs meet the criteria to be considered securities. However, in the future, BaFin may consider NFTs as securities if, for example, 1,000 NFTs embody the same repayment and interest claims. Okay. According to another reservation, if an NFT contains documentation of exploitation rights or ownership, such as a promise of distribution, it could be considered an investment. That makes sense too. It does. The agency recommends a case-by-case approach to classify NFTs as crypto assets. According to BaFin, the chance that NFTs will represent a crypto asset is even smaller than the investment classification, given the lack of immediate exchangeability. The lack of standardization also spares NFTs of e-money status. That's right. It's not standardized. They're all unique. They're all different. And, there's an opportunity there for creators. And that seems like their regulatory person is really smart. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think. I appreciate it. Next one, Ukraine. Ukraine, and I have a podcast coming out this weekend, and I interviewed a man from Ukraine. So check it out. My podcast this weekend. I have 4 podcasts. One today, 2 on Saturday, Sunday, and another one Saturday, Sunday. 4. Ukraine Central Bank sees both promises and threats in Bitcoin. The Central Bank of Ukraine sees crypto as a threat to macro financial stability and a promising opportunity for better payments at the same time. Well, this is a country that created a state and a smartphone where I wrote a book called Old Paradigms Die Hard. If you haven't read it yet, you should. It's interviews from founders and entrepreneurs and people working on the front lines and under the rubble from the early parts of the war in 2022 from February to May. Check it out if you can. Both Kindle and hardcover. The National Bank of Ukraine has expressed a mixed stance on cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin after a year of war in the country. The Central Bank of Ukraine sees both good and bad in digital assets, taking a more skeptical approach to crypto due to financial and economic issues caused by the invasion. In April 2022, the NBU, National Bank of Ukraine, prohibited citizens from buying cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin used in the national currency, the Hryvnia, UAH, only allowing such purchases via foreign currency accounts. The central bank also set a monthly limit on such purchases, prohibiting Ukrainians from buying more crypto than 100,000 UAH, which is $3,300 per month. Restrictions also apply to cross-border payments, peer-to-peer transactions. What they did, though, in the Ukraine was the NFTs, artists sold NFTs and helped to fund the military, and then they received a lot of donations, by exchanges to help with their efforts. And they have developed the state and smartphone. So it's interesting to see that the central bank there isn't in favor of cryptos, where the rest of the world and internally they are. That sounds familiar to me. Familiar, maybe, in the U.S. too. Let me know your thoughts. And how's it similar? How's it different? Interesting. And then we're going to go also to Russia now. Okay, talked about Ukraine. I got to talk about Russia a little bit. Russian crypto advocates. I can say that word. I know it. Urge Putin to stop regulatory hostility. Regulatory hostility. Where have I seen that? Okay, as Russia continues to delay adopting cryptocurrency regulations, local advocates have appealed to Russian President Vladimir Putin to change the government's approach to regulating the market. The Russian Association of Crypto Industry and Blockchain, RASIB, a major group of crypto and blockchain enthusiasts in Russia, issued an open letter to Putin on Monday this week, urging the president to address the risks of ignoring the global development of the crypto industry. In the letter, the RASIB argued that Russia has been too slow to implement experimental legal regimes targeting crypto adoption, despite enforcing the first crypto law on digital financial assets in 2021. Yes. So in November last year, Russia introduced a series of legal amendments to the crypto law, proposing to launch a national cryptocurrency exchange. Have they done it yet? It doesn't seem like it, but the amendments create a sea of choice to pressure the local crypto community. Hey, well, crypto's global, and everybody's using it. And any one country that tries to implement their laws, there are other countries that are implementing different laws, and crypto is going to spawn, I like the word spawn, somewhere else in the world. And let me know your thoughts. And I believe we are out of Europe, finally. Okay, so let's go to Asia and let's go to China. We start with China. China announces plans for a new national financial regulator. Okay, so the Chinese government has plans for a governmental overhaul. We need that here in the U.S. Jeez. Okay, according to a new announcement, this includes introducing a new national financial regulator. On Tuesday, the government announced that its current banking and insurance watchdog, the China Banking and Insurance Regulatory Commission, CBIRC, will be abolished. The responsibilities of this commission will be moved to a brand new administration, as will particular functions of the central bank and securities regulator. The legislature will vote for a plan on institutional reform Friday, today. Probably already happened. When in place, the new regulator will strengthen institutional supervision of behaviors, and supervision of functions. Currently, the financial industry in China is under the supervision of the People's Bank of China. But it's going to be a new regulator that's outside that bank. How's that going to go? It'll be interesting. Let me know your thoughts on how successful they're going to be interested to hear from you. Let's go to India. India subjects crypto transactions to anti-money laundering law. While there's nothing new in imposing anti-money laundering standards on crypto, it is only now that the Indian government has decided to notify all interested parties of the obligation to comply with the national AML law. On Tuesday, the India Gazette published a notification from the Ministry of Finance subjecting a range of crypto transactions to the Prevention, I just made that word up, it's the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, PLAMA 2022, namely the exchange, transfers, safekeeping, and administration of virtual assets. Financial services related to an issuer's offer and sale of virtual assets also fall under the PLAMA. The notification doesn't provide many details. Okay, that's fine. You get details later. That's cool. But the PLAMA obliges financial institutions to maintain a record of all transactions for the last 10 years. There have been crypto transactions for 10 years now? Wow. Okay. Wow. Provide those records to the officials if demanded and verify the identity of all the clients. You could say 5 years. You could say 4 years. You said 10 years. All right. Good luck with that. Let me know your thoughts on India. And let's talk about the SEC. No, not the US SEC, but the SEC of Thailand. The SEC of Thailand wants public feedback on crypto lending staking ban. Thailand's Securities and Exchange Commission is preparing to hold a new public hearing on a potential ban on staking and lending services in the country. Thailand's SEC officially announced on March 8 that the authority is seeking public comments on a draft regulation prohibiting virtual asset service providers, VASPs, from providing or getting involved in any type of crypto staking and lending transactions. According to the SEC's policy, VASPs should not be allowed to deploy users' deposits and provide lending services to prevent possible damage to investors in the case of services termination. Additionally, the draft regulation is expected to further clearly clarify the scope of supervision of digital asset businesses because they are currently not fully supervised, the SEC said. And that's what they're seeking feedback. I think it's just feedback of people in Thailand, not the rest of the world. But, if you live somewhere else, why not give it a shot and let them know your thoughts? Let me know your thoughts. Let the Thailand SEC know your thoughts. They have beautiful beaches there. That's my thoughts. So Thailand to offer tax breaks for investment token issuers. Going back to my comment about the beaches, tax breaks. Okay, let's see. The government of Thailand is moving to benefit from the digital asset industry growth by allowing tax-free issuance of digital tokens for investment. Thailand's cabinet has agreed to waive corporate income tax and value-added tax for companies that issue investment tokens. According to report Reuters, March 7, Tuesday, Deputy Government Spokesperson Rachada Nadarek said companies will be able to access alternative ways of raising capital through investment tokens in addition to conventional methods like debentures. Their deputy added, because I'm not going to try to pronounce that name again, added the government expects investment token offerings to generate 128 billion Thai baht, which is 3.7 billion US, over the next 2 years. The state estimated potential losses of tax revenues is 35 billion, which is $1 million. So, yeah, tax-friendly, wonderful, beautiful beaches, excellent food. What's not to love about Thailand and crypto, or crypto in Thailand? Let me know your thoughts. And yeah, I went to Koh Samui in 2004. It was beautiful. Kopanjan. It was beautiful, and the food is great. South Korea. South Korea. We're moving to South Korea. Saw over 4 billion of unregistered crypto transactions in 2022. The citizens of South Korea transacted 5.6 trillion Korean won, $4.3 billion through illegal crypto exchanges in 2022, according to local sources. Always according to local sources. Never tell you the name. The country's government has been especially attentive toward such money movement amid the tightening regime of licensing. On March 7, Tuesday, local media published the numbers the Korea Customs Service provided. According to them, the overall amount of funds caught in the economic crimes increased significantly from 3.2 trillion won in 2021 to 8.2 trillion, which was 2.5 billion to 6.2 billion, an increase of 200 sometimes, 2 per 100%, 2 point something times last year. Crypto transactions comprised almost 70% of all the illicit money traffic captured by the officers. However, the total amount of intercepted digital assets, $4.3 billion, accrues for only 15 transactions. 15. 4.3 billion, 15 people made some money on this. Transactions were aimed at purchasing foreign virtual assets with the intention to sell them in the country later, as a regulatory regime isolates the local market and makes prices of foreign crypto higher for customers in the country. Well, I didn't know that. Let me know your thoughts about that, and then we're going to go to, last but not least, Africa, Middle East. We're going to go to Nigeria. Naira, president's directive for Naira is canned by the Nigerian Supreme Court. The Supreme Court of Nigeria has ruled that the 200, 500, and 1,000 Naira notes remain in circulation until December 31st, 2023, effectively nullifying the Naira redesign previously announced by Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari. The introduction of redesign sought to phase out the use of these notes I just mentioned. 7-member panel had a unanimous decision. The court said the federal government should have consulted with the state government through relevant bodies, including the National Council of States and the National Economic Council, before embarking on the redesign of the Naira. All right, so they're going to keep these old things, these old Nairas in place before they go to digital. And yeah, all right, well, that's what happened. And let me know if that's going to have any impact on you, on your life. Let me know your thoughts. And let's go. One final place is on the 25th of May, Block Jakarta. It's coming live from Indonesia, in Jakarta, Indonesia. The Crypto Hipster podcast is a digital sponsor for that amazing, wonderful conference, one-day conference in Indonesia, in Jakarta. If you are there on May 25, check it out. All the details can be found on the Black Arrow Conferences website. That is a company, in India and Asia, and putting together amazing conferences and online in Indonesia, Bali. They just did in November. And if you're there, they have wonderful speakers. Check it out. And so that's it. That's the wrap. This has been episode 30 of the X Factor with the Crypto Hipster. I appreciate you listening in, and we'll see you next week, each and every week, on the X Factor with the Crypto Hipster. Thank you. Have an amazing weekend, an amazing week.